Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are fine and in good health. So, students, today we are going to take up our next grammar topic, that is modals, and it's your lesson number 7 from your grammar book. As we know, verbs are of two kinds, main verbs and modal verbs. So, here we are going to discuss modals. So, first we will define what is a modal. Modals are verbs used to express the mood or attitude of the speaker. They are also called modal auxiliaries. So, here in these kind of verbs, we are going to express the mood specially. So, these verbs express our moods, our intentions, the way we are going to respond. So, this is a great highlight in our language also. So we need to learn this. Modals are used to give advice, seek or give permission, make suggestions, make polite requests and give invitations, etc. So the most common used modals are, as you can see here is a list of modals: can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must, ought to, need, dare, and one more is there, that is used to. These all we are going to discuss further in more details. First one, we are going to take shall and will. As you all know, these verbs are also used in future references. So in the same way, in modals also we make use of will and shall, but will and shall are always used with the first form of verb. So this here, one thing is to be kept in mind is every modal is used with the first form of verb. That means we are going to make use of main verb and modals are going to act like a helping verb. So always modals follow first form of verb. So let's start with first one, that is shall. In assertive sentences, shall in the first person gives information about the future actions. So we all know shall is used in future reference. With I and we make use of shall. In the second point, you can see shall is the second and third person is used to denote something like a promise. Like you are going to express a promise here with he or she, you will make use of shall. Otherwise, we make use of shall only with I and we. In a command also, like it's a order, you can see the example, they shall not play there. It's an order, it's a command that they should not do this. Next is determination, as they shall work hard. So it's a fixed determination. So when we are going to highlight determination, command, promise and a threat also, there we make use of shall with he, she, they, etc. And in the similar way, we make changes with I and we. Now let's start with the third part. In interrogative sentences, shall used in the first person indicates simple futurity, wish, or opinion of the person spoken to. As, shall I buy this book for you? Shall we visit the water amusement park? Now these are the questions where verb is placed at the first position, but also indicates mood. As in the first example, shall I buy this book for you? It expresses a wish, like you are in a mood to offer something to somebody. But in the second sentence, you are asking for a permission. Shall we visit the water amusement park? Like it's a question with a permission also. So, as you can see, modals are expressing our moods also. Now, let's see further use of will. Will is used in assertive sentences. As we all know, will is used in the future reference with he, she, it and they. So you can see the example, she will go to Delhi on Monday. That means it's her future intention to go to Delhi on Monday. In the second point, you can see in assertive sentences will indicate a customary. Customary is called, that means your routine of something, like you are in a habit of something. Like she will sit there for hours waiting for her son to come. Like she is in a habit of sitting there. So it's always there. Next, third point, you can see will in the second and third person. Now it's very surprising, as from the earlier classes we have learned that we make use of shall with I and we, and will is used with he, she, it, and they. Now, in the second and third person, you see it expresses of belief or an assumption on the part of the speaker, like you have an idea, like you are going to do this, they will know it, like you are having an assumption that somebody knows this, so you say they will know it. That means you are having an idea that the person in front of you will understand this. Here you make use of will. But in the fourth point, you can see a total change here. Like in certain situations, there we make use of will with I and we. Now let's see what are the situations, what are the conditions. First one is will is used in the first person, is used to denote promise. Like when you are placing a promise to somebody, then we will make use of will with I and we. You see the example, we will do next better next time, I will teach him maths. Now here we have used I with will except shall. Like in threat also, like you are placing a threat to somebody, I will dismiss you, we will expose you. So if these kind of sentences are having will with first person. Willingness to do something, like I will carry your bag to office. Determination, I will succeed in the venture. So these kind of sentences, you can see first person is used with will. Now the next point is in the interrogation also. In interrogative sentences, will in the second person denotes willingness, intention, or wish of the person spoken to. As will you have a cup of coffee? Like you are asking somebody, you are asking for the intention of somebody. If somebody is intended to have coffee, then you will ask, will you have a cup of coffee? Will you leave me? Will you leave Mumbai on Sunday? Like it's the intention. In the future, it is possible that this thing is going to happen. Now here class, you are having this exercise in your syllabus where you are going to make use of will and want. In the similar way, will and want, you can see will is used for the future reference and want is used in the similar way. Next one is should. Should is used to denote duty or obligation. Like you can see the example, while you are placing some duty, should, it's your, you should obey your parents, you should obey your elders. Like it's your duty and it's an obligation, it's a compulsory, it's not, it's your moral duty to do this thing. We should control, he should control his temper, pupils should obey their teachers, I should not neglect my studies. So in these kind of sentences, you can see an obligation is placed. Duty in the past is expressed by should have. Like if you need to express past form, and here you will make use of have with should. I should have paid the money long ago. They should have worked much better. He should not have forgotten his purpose. Like you are expressing that they should have. Now let's see the third point. In interrogative sentences, shall used in the first person indicates a simple futurity, wish, or opinion of the person spoken to. As we have already discussed that for modals indicates mood. Now see the both examples. Shall I buy this book for you? Shall we visit the water amusement park? Now, these are the interrogative sentences where verb is kept at the beginning of the sentence and also indicates different moods. Like in the first sentence, you can see there is a mood of wish. Shall I buy this book for you? That means it is my wish for you. But in the second sentence, you can see it's more like a permission. Shall we visit the water amusement park? That means you are asking for permission. So in that way, it also indicates of a mood. Now let's see further. Use of will. We all know will is used in the future tense with the second and third person. So first point indicates that in assertive sentences, will in the second and third person indicates pure future. She will go to Delhi on Monday. They are confident you will pass the examination. So here second and third person are used with will. In assertive sentences, will indicates a customary or a characteristic action. Now, characteristic action means that this is in your character, like it's in your nature, and when used with second and third person. First example indicates she will sit there for hours waiting for her son to come. Like that means it is her character, it is her habit that she will sit here for hours waiting for her son to come. Now let's see the third point. Will in the second and third person express a belief or an assumption also. Now assumption is idea. Like we sometimes create some assumptions in our mind that can be true or may not be true, but you make that assumption in your mind that this will be there. They will know it. Like you don't know whether they know it or not, but you have this assumption that they will know it. That means by the time they will be able to understand this. Now the fourth point here, it indicates that sometimes we make use of will with first person also. In general, we have learned that we make use of shall with I and we, and will with he, she, they, and it. But here, in certain conditions, we make use of will with I and we also. Like in a promise, we will do better next time. I will teach him maths. Now you can see we have used will with I and we also here, where we are placing a promise. Like in a threat also. Threat is called like you threat somebody. I will dismiss you. That means it is a threat to somebody. And here also you have made use of will with I. Next is willingness. Willingness, that means you want to do something. Don't worry, we will lend you some money. It's your willingness. You show your willingness that you will do this. Then you see, we is used with will, not shall. In fourth point, determination. Like you show a strong determination. Like I will succeed in this venture. We will not surrender. Now that means you have a firm determination. So in these kind of sentences, we will make use of will instead of shall. Now let's see. In interrogation also, interrogation, we place the verb at the beginning of the sentence and also denotes willingness, intention, or wish. Now this B part is in your syllabus beta, and you need to note these answers in your books also. Now the next point is, next modal is should, that we will discuss. Should is used. Now there are certain conditions where we will make use of should. Now what is should? Should is always indicating an obligation. Like we should obey our elders. That means it is our moral duty. We are not bound to do this. We are not forced to do this. But it is our moral duty and we are obliged to do this. So that is called obligation. So we should obey our elders. He should control his temper. Pupils should obey their teachers. I should not neglect my studies. So these all are the obligations and duties. Duty in the past tense is expressed by should have, but if we need to express such kind of a duty in the past form, here we will make use of have with should. Have is the first form, and here where you want to indicate the past form of any modal, you will make use of have along with the modal. See the example. I should have paid the money long ago. That means it should have happened, but did not happen. Should have that. But you see, students, whenever you make use of should have, at that point you will make use of third form of verb of the action verb, like paid. Paid is the third form. Now see the second sentence. They should have worked much harder. Now they should have. Should is used, have is used, and worked is the third form placed here. So that means when you wanted to indicate some duty, for the past reference, there you make use of should with have and third form of verb also. Next is to express suppositions, possibilities, and conditions. Like you suppose something, then also you make use of should, possibility, and conditions. See the examples. Should he turn up now? I have nothing to give him. This is the supposition. Should he turn up now? I suppose he should go now. I have nothing to give him. Because I have nothing to give him, so he should go. It's a supposition. If they should attack, we will defend our country. Now this is the possibility. If they should attack, if they should attack, we will defend our country. It's a possibility. If it should rain, we shall have a holiday. Again, this is a possibility. If it should rain, we are having this possibility. If it should have, if it rained, if it should rain, we shall have a holiday. Next, should there be a danger, we shall be prepared for meet it. So now it's placing a condition also. Should there be a danger, we shall be prepared for it. It's a condition. Like if there will be a danger, we will be prepared for this. Now the third point, to express purpose and result in the clause introduced by in order that and so that. So now you need to see if your clause is having in order that or so that in your sentence, there you will make use of should. See example, we spoke softly so that no one should hear us. Now so that, use of so that with should. Next sentence, we bought plenty of food in order that all should be satisfied. So in these kind of sentences where we are having a purpose to do something and we make use of in order that or so that, there also we use should. Only should modal is used. Let's see the fourth point. This is again one of the condition where you are having a sentence with lest. After lest, to express a negative purpose. So if in your sentence lest is used, you will always make use of should. See example, we worked hard lest she should work hard lest she should fail. That means if it indicates a negative thing, that if she will not work hard, she will not be able to pass. So it is in the other way to say that. I use a sentence like she will not, if she will not work hard, she will not pass. Now the same sentence can be used while making use of should, but if you are making use of should and lest is there, so lest ke sath you will always have to add should. I hope this sentence is quite clear to you. Next one, in independent clauses, after verbs or phrases indicating determination, willingness, threat, order, or permission as. Like in dependent clauses, where you show some kind of determination, you show some kind of willingness that I will do this, or you place some order, threats, there also you make use of should. Let's see the example to understand it better. I told my sister that she should have a new frock. I told my sister that it's my opinion, it's my willingness. I told my sister that she should have a new frock. I have ordered that he should not play today. I have ordered that, this is my willingness. I have ordered that he should not play today. Next, the police ordered that all the roads should be blocked. So this is an order again. So while placing an order, you can make use of should in the dependent clause. So here sentence is in the two parts, dependent and independent clause, and where two clauses are used, and in the second part of the clause you will make use of should. Next is when giving and asking advice. When you want to give advice or take advice, asking for advice, you want somebody to give you advice, then also you make use of should. You should not play with fire, so you are giving the advice. You should not play with fire, that means you are giving the advice. You should be kind to your servants, again you are giving the advice. So while giving and asking for advice, then you will make use of should. To disapprove something that was done in the past, like you don't like something and you disapprove that thing, then also you make use of should. Example, you should not have insulted her, like you did this thing in the past, but I am advising you or I am guiding you that you should not have insulted her, you should not have done this, but you did. Now you see, you should not have is used. So see, whenever you are having you are making use of past tense with should, you will add have there. Have is must to be there. Next, to indicate a concession. Now concession is express something else. to show something some concern. You will not improve even if you should have lived for 100 years. So you are giving a concession, like if this is happening, then this can't be there. You will not improve even if you should have lived for 100 years. I will not believe it even if an angel should come here from heaven and say it. So this is your concession, this is your concern, this is your belief that you will not do this. Then also you are you are making use of should in the second part of the sentence. Next is in idiomatic expression. Now this is very interesting. Like idiomatic is when you want to say something and expressing something else. So that is called idiomatic expression. I should think so. When you say I should think so, that means actually you don't mean that you need to think so. You say I'm quite sure of it. I should think so. You should think so. Think so is not just that means you're thinking about that, but you are quite sure of that. You say something, but you intend something else. That is called idiomatic expression. I should like to know what you have been doing. That means I wish to know. I should like to know. That means you want to know. It's your urge, it's your desire to know what is happening over there. So I should like to know. When you make use of I should like to know, that means you are really very much interested to know this. So I think this should part is quite clear now. Now the next one is use of may and might. Now may is used to express permission. Like students, you normally say in the class, may I come in? So may I come in indicates that you are asking for a permission, and may is always very polite. So to express permission, may I come in, sir? You may use my pen for a day, so it's a permission. Next is to express a purpose, like you are having some purpose to do something. She flatters so that she may win favors. Like this is the purpose of doing this. We eat that we may live. That means we eat so that we may live. So it's a purpose. It's our purpose to do something. Next is to denote possibility. Like you say it's a possible thing. So but you are not sure, then you make use of may. It may snow tonight. So that means you are having this possibility that it may snow tonight. I may be elected president. So it's a possibility that this can happen. Here you make use of may. To express a wish, like you always wish, may God bless you, may her soul rest in peace. So these kind of a wish where you are having exclamatory sign at the end of the sentence, there you start your sentence with may, and it indicates a wish. In the similar way, might is used to denote a possibility that is more doubtful. Now see, may is used for a possibility and might is also used for a possibility, but might is quite doubtful. You are having certain doubts regarding completing that. She might pass. That means you are having a lot of doubts that she might pass. The patient might recover, like the recovery of the patient is quite doubtful. So when you are having doubtful condition and you are much more doubtful regarding the possibility of something, there you make use of might. Might is also used to denote extreme politeness during a discussion. Like again, as we have learned that modals are indicating our moods. So when we are in a discussion with somebody and we want to express extreme politeness in our discussion, that this argue should not be harsh enough, there you make use of might. So might is quite a polite one, so full of politeness. Might I have a chance to speak? Like somebody is not giving you a chance, and it's really a mannerful way you say, might I have a chance to speak? That means you are extremely polite while making use of might. You may use may I have a chance to speak also, but may is not as much polite as might. So we make use of might to express our politeness, our mood, our intention, that we are not in a favor of argument but we want to say something. I hope these two are quite clear to you now. Now we are moving forward further with can, could, and was able to. Now can, could, and was able to are quite similar. Now the difference is can. We normally have read that can is used in the present form and Could is used for the past form, and was able to or be able to is used in the place of can and could. Like if I say he is able to go out now. Now he is able to go out now. In the place of is able to go, I can use he can go out now. So both sentences are correct, but in the first part I was not making use of any modal, but when I make use of can, that means I am using modal in my sentence. Now let's see these the use of can, could and was able to in different situations. First one, can and could are used to express ability or power. Like you say, I am able to do this. I can speak English. Can you speak any foreign language? So in that way you make use of can and could. Can is used for the present tense and could is used for the past form. Next is can and could are used to express permission. Like this is also a way of asking for somebody, like may. In may, you were asking, may I go, may I come in? You can also say, can I come in? But difference is may is quite polite and may is used in a very polite manner, and can is just in a casual way. So when you make use of can, that means you are expressing some kind of permission, like you can leave the class after half an hour, and this is used in a different context. May is always used with your seniors, and can is used with with your colleagues or with the people of similar level. That is, you have permission to leave the class. Can I go to the library now? So now let's see the third point. Can and could are used to express a possibility, that is some action or event is possible, as like you need to show some possibility. There can be an accident at any time on this bridge, like you are having this possibility. We can make mistakes, it's possible. He said that the news could be true, so that there's a possibility. So when you are placing a possibility, you make use of can and could. Fourth is could sometimes does not indicate past time. So sometimes it's not necessary that could is always used as a past form, but could is also used to indicate a polite request, like could I have your pen? Could I ask to the principal for a minute? Could I have a glass of water? So here you are indicating a polite request while making use of could. Could is not itself the past form of can. Could have serves as its past form. So when you want to make it very clear that you are making use of could as past form, you will always have use of have verb with that. Like I could have played much better. That means you could have done this, but you have not done. She could have told me about it, but she did not. She could have, but did not. So could is used with have to indicate a past form. In these sentences, could have expressed the idea of something that was possible or desirable but did not happen. In the sixth part, you can see use of was able to. Now, was able to suggests ability in a particular situation, like you were able to do this, but you did not. My father was able to lift the heavy box and carry it upside. Ability in a particular situation. Like it's not always the ability, but in a certain point, you say you were able to do this. My father was able to lift the heavy box. That means he was able to, he was having the ability. So, to show the ability in another way, we make use of was able to. Next is use of must. Now, must is used to express the necessity, compulsion, and strong moral obligation. Now, we have learned that should is used for a moral obligation. In the similar way, must is used for a moral obligation, but it's with a compulsion, with a necessity. That means it is much more stronger than should. Should is your choice that you should obey your parents, it's your moral duty, but must is with a little compulsion. Like you see the example, we must obey the natural laws. It's a compulsory thing. I must finish the work today. It's a compulsory. Next is fixed determination. Like you have fixed determination that you would do this. I must have my way in this matter. We must have our money back. So it's a firm determination that you want to do this. As a duty, a soldier must be loyal. So it's again a moral obligation that a soldier must be loyal. It's his duty to be a loyal person. Next, inability. Inevitability means you can't avoid this. Like one must die, one day man must die. So it's inevitable. You can't skip this. You have to bear this. So there also you make use of must. Uncertainty and strong likelihood, like you are certain to do the something. Again, it's more like a determination. She should have reached home by now, so it's a certainty that by this time she should be at home. You must be thirsty after your long walk, so it's certain that somebody would be thirsty if he or she have passed for a walked for a long time. So in that kind of certainty we make use of must, and have is also used there. Now the next one is ought to. Ought to is again a strong probability. Like should was uh, an obligation, must was a stronger obligation, and ought to is the strongest one. Like to denote strong probability. You ought to secure full marks in maths. That means you have no other option but you have to get full marks. Denote duty. Like again, it's a moral obligation and it's not being taught to somebody, but you have to do this when you are under compulsion. We ought to love our country. Now this is not an option that you will love your country, but it has to be there. So when we make it a more compulsion and it's your moral obligation, then you make use of ought to. Ought to have, when you are making use of ought to with have, there you will make use of third form of verb. So V3 means third form of verb is used to indicate past obligation. Like he ought to have been more careful. She ought to have obeyed her parents. So as I told you earlier also, ought to is used with have to indicate a past form, and whenever have is used, you will make use of third form of action verb, like obeyed here and been. Now the next one is have to. Have to is always for compulsory. You are forced to do something. It's not your wish to do. You are forced to do. You are under compulsion. First is to indicate obligation. He has to work hard for a living. That is your obligation. You have to do. You have no other option. Next is when the obligation or necessity is repeated occurrence. तो कोई चीज़ बार बार, when something is happening again and again, they have to work on holidays too. So this is the thing. This is a repeat occurrence. Again and again it's happening. Next is had to is used for necessity or obligation in the past. Had to. Had to is just the past form of have to. Like instead of have to, when you want to say something had to happen, then in the past, then you make use of had to. Had to is used for necessity obligation in the past. He had to finish the work in time. It had to, but did not happen. We had to pay the fee by 10th of every month, but we have not. Had to in the past form. It's always a strong compulsion, and you are at a force here. Forcefully you are forcefully committed to do this. Next is dare, need not. Now dare, need to, we hardly make use of such kind of modals, but these are a part of modal. So dare is always like a challenge. It's also like a courage, and interrogation you always make use of dare at the beginning of the sentence. Like dare in a challenge, you can see the example, how dare she behave in this manner. Like you want to ask, you want to challenge, how can she, how dare she. So we normally say how dare you. Next is to venture or denote a venture or courage in a negative form. When you make use of not with that, you say, I dare not ask him to teach me. That means you are courageous enough. There you make use of not with dare. Third one is in interrogation, you always keep the verb at the beginning of the sentence. Next is need not. Need is always like the necessity. So need and need not both are used. First point, according to the condition, as a regular verb, it means require or in need of something. Need is always the necessity. He needs your help. He does not need your help. But now you can see we make use of need, but in the present tense we are also following the form of tenses. Whether in the present tense we will make use of does not need. If we are using in the past tense, we will make use of did not need. In the second point, you can see as a modal now, it expresses necessity. So need is all used as a common verb also, and also as a modal. As a modal, it expresses necessity. That means it is necessary to do. You need not pay the fine. That means it is not necessary. She need not wait more. She should not wait more. You, instead of saying she should not, you said she need not. That means it is not necessary to do this. Interrogation, you will always keep the verb at the beginning of the sentence. Need I go to the court today? That means is it necessary to go? So you are asking a question with a necessity. So the past form is always having have, as you can see the example. You need not have come so far. That means why have you come? You need not have come. That means why have you come? It was not necessary. Need you have taken all this trouble? That means why have you taken this trouble? So it's a way of saying your mood and intention that it was not necessary. Like I say, need I to explain? Like I say, need I to say something? That means I don't need to. That means it is not necessary. So need I to do something? Need I to repeat it? That means it is not necessary to repeat. Now let's see the next modal, used to. Now used to, that means you were in a habit of doing something in the past, but you discontinued this now. So the first point indicates, it shows discontinued habit, as there used to be a place here. That means there used to be a place here, but it's not here right now. He used to live in a village before his marriage. Now he discontinued this habit of living in a village. Second is to denote a repeated action, like again you used to play. I used to go for a walk. When he was young, he used to play football. She used to dance before her marriage. That means this was her repeated action, but she discontinued this habit now. Used to also means accustomed. Accustomed is in a routine of something. So I am not used to hard manual labor. They are used to a cold climate. That means they are accustomed to, they are in a habit to, they are in a nature to do, to be in a cold climate. So used to always indicates the past form, the past actions that you were in a habit of but you discontinued now. So class, these were all the modals that we have gone through today, and I hope these are quite clear to you now. And if you have further queries, you can ask your teachers in your online classes. Have a nice day. Hope everything is clear to you. Have a good day. Thank you so much.